Hello everybody, welcome to Liqui-Dirt 3D. You know, 10 years ago we started 3D printing. We never made any videos or anything about it. We were just 3D printing as for fun, seeing what we could do. But back then, we actually had to code it ourselves. There wasn't high quality slicers and Cura and Simplify 3D and all the other amazing printers. Persa hadn't even came on the scene yet. I know, it's hard to think about way back then before Persa. Like, that's on the tip of everybody's tongue. Anytime you say 3D printing, oh, it's a Persa. It's an M3. It's great. This is before then. So where did we start? Well, we started with this machine. And this machine, believe it or not, was $3,000 with all the bells and whistles 10 years ago. And you know what? The funny thing is, it still works. It's slow, but it still works. The X, Y, Z, everything still works on it. The problem is, the bearings are shot. So it can't hold tolerance. It can't print anymore. So 4 years ago, I gave up on it. I said, you know what, I'm tired of printing parts, replacing bearings, replacing things. In fact, it still has a part still on the build bed. That's the last part ever printed on this machine 4 years ago. You saw the parts fall off. It's still falling apart. So, yeah, this is why I quit. But we're back. And this is a cool thing. When we started, this was the extruder for this machine. It took 2 days to put this machine together. And then the first thing that went wrong, these gears right here, that drives this shaft that has nothing more than a thread on it, just like a regular bolt. And that's how this originally worked. And this was state of the art 10 years ago. We had acrylic build beds. This one's polycarbonate. We actually went through several renditions. If you look at it, you can still see where there were parts printed on this that pulled the actual plastic back off. So we made lots of these. First we hand cut them, then we went to CNC. It was this process. And we're going to go through processes now. Even though the technology is different, we're going to propel this forward. We're going to take steps. But 10 years ago, we made build beds for this. I think some of you kind of know what this is. This is a flex or spring steel build bed. You know what? It didn't work 10 years ago. We didn't have the PEX coatings to go on here, so the filaments just wouldn't stick. You'll notice this doesn't have a heated build bed, so we couldn't get over that thermal barrier to make parts back then. Now we can. Some of the parts that we built were really intricate, like this. This was actually going to be a 3D printer that we were going to 3D print to replicate itself. And we started doing this 10 years ago, but it never came to fruition because we just constantly had to keep fighting with building parts, printing a part, building another part, to print a part. You can see that's a vicious cycle with how old this is. We had to write firmware. When we originally had this, it would only go about 20 millimeters per second on your X, Y, and Z. We actually improved this a lot. We actually got it to go to 40 millimeters. And 40 millimeters was like, holy cow, 40 millimeters. And we had to change extruders. We had to add different gearing. We had to change stepper motors. We had to actually change the whole way that this extruder actually worked. And if you notice right here, this little curved piece, that is because there wasn't Teflon tubes back then to give you that guidance to go back in. So this right here actually had that. So this is actually what that part looks like when it's taken out. So we actually had to 3D print this entire tube. These cutouts were for bearings to keep it pressed against our feed gear that goes in here. We actually had to use a large feed gear to gear it down stepwise. We don't have to do that now. The technology is advanced. But we were still able to print things like gears. And we're going to print even more incredible things now. Because now we have new technology. Right now, in this box, we have a CR10S Pro, but not just any one. This came from Tiny Machines. This has so many more advancements that are just now coming out that they took care of and put on this for us to get us that far next out of the gate. But when we started printing 10 years ago, this right here is a model. This was going to be a helicopter motor. All these pieces were fitted together and fit right back together and clip in. All of these clip in. Bearing, all the different things. You can see how fine of detail we were able to make. We actually, when we got this printer, it would only print at a 1 millimeter layer height. We actually, through recoding and designing our own G-code, we took this down to 0.5, and then we dropped the bar even lower. We went down to all the way to 0.01 layer height. We were able to do that 10 years ago with this printer through our manual coding. We didn't have those slicers like we mentioned, but now we've got those slicers. And in those slicers is untapped technology, untapped resources to take 3D printing and evolve it even beyond where it's at right now in a very short period of time. We printed lots and lots of parts. Well, you know, things like this. This was amazing to print back then because this is actually threaded. So this threads up and down. To 3D print this 10 years ago, to have this actually function on this type of printing system was almost unheard of. Yet we were able to do it through manual coding. Absolutely incredible, but there is so much more to show you. This is, well, this is going to be loud, but I have to do it. I have to show you. This is what we've printed on just this machine. And if you think this is a lot, wait until we start printing on this. We printed things like sprockets, gears, pulley systems, differentials for robotics, for engineering, bearing brackets, bearing holders. We printed all kinds of things. This was for a hydroponic unit. Yeah, we're gonna print hydroponic units on this channel. Full-fledged working hydroponic units. And why? Well, our parent company is Liqui-Dirt. We make nutrition systems to grow plants right now, and that brings us back into 3D printing because now we can bring some of those things into full-fledged designed products. You can go from concept to full-fledged production products with FDM printing systems because this is old, this is new. Look at the finite gears that we were able to print 10 years ago. These gears are so cool to be able to do. You know what? Let me show you. These gears were printed over 10 years ago on that printer. And why were they able to be printed? Because of specifics in Gcode. And we're going to show you how to do that. Now all of this is incredible. But to be quite honest, all of this is dated. This is all 10 years old. Back then we had to code individual walls. This is one thickness. Today, what do we call this? Vase mode. 10 years ago, there was no such thing as vase mode. There was no such thing as different types of fill. You had to change your fill and code it differently. Different bearings, bracket holders, tolerances, everything. So, you know what? I love 3D printing, and that's why we're back into this again. 3D printing is amazing. What are we getting ready to do? Let me show you. This printer is old and dated, but all of this is new advancements that's coming on. We have Wham Bam build beds. We have easy peelsy build beds that we're going to be testing. We have all the different filaments. We have monthly orders that we're going to be checking. So we have things like the maker box that comes to you every month. We're going to be showing you every month what comes in a box so you can start getting them too, and you can build right along with us in this channel. Other cool things that we have Everybody knows what these are, right? These are the fans that you change on those cheap 3D printers to make them super quiet. Noctura fans. These are amazing. Little power packs that are silent. Well, as silent as you're going to get for a fan. These are amazing. So that's an upgrade that we are going to do on our channel to this if we need to. But we're going to check that for ourselves. So this right here, let's just say, out with the old. This is where we're heading. And this is why you should join us on our journey. So, since we're going to be moving on to this one, this is going to be really cool. I can't wait to get to our unboxing on this one. So, really, this one, guess we really don't need this one anymore. This is where our future lies, in the new advancements in 3D printing. Look forward to you on our next video. Be sure to subscribe and click on that little bell so that you will know when our next videos come out. Thanks for joining us on Liqui-Dirt 3D.